students. Pleased to say that all those conditions have been met today, July 1st, 2021. This is a historic moment for Delaware State University and for the historically Black college and university community. Today, Delaware State University becomes the first agency to acquire another institution. Our view that point is noteworthy, but it's not the reason that this was such an attractive opportunity. We needed to serve more students who needed our brand of excellence, education, care. We need to increase the size of our footprint, build on our key academic programs, grow our research base, and enhance our economic impact on the state of Delaware. We also know that we need a more direct connection to the economic, social, and cultural life downtown Dover, on right for opportunities, particularly. In short, the Wesley College acquisition represents a significant step toward our wildest dream, becoming the most diverse, contemporary agency in the country. I cannot tell you how pleased I am that we have reached this moment. Before we begin, I want to thank Chairman Bill Strickland, President Bob Clark, the entire Wesley family, including their faculty, staff, and students, and most importantly, I thank the Delaware State University. You all have been tremendous. You all have believed in this new opportunity for us. And we will grow together the way that Delaware and this country has not seen. I'm pleased to be joined today by some of the leadership team in the DSU downtown. To my left, Roel Holmes, the Associate Vice President for the DSU downtown. Next to him, my Chief Administrative Officer for DSU downtown, Dr. Stacy Downey. To her left, Wesley, former Wesley employee and terrific Delaware State University colleague now, or Mays, who is the Director of Community Development, Institutional Advancement, DSU downtown, and the new dean of the Wesley College of Health and Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Gwen Scott Jones, who I believe starts our first official day today. So with that, I know there are reporters in the room. Thank you all for coming. I'm happy to take your questions. I think you all know that following this press conference, we will have a university forum for our Wesley colleagues and certainly our Delaware State University. Happy to take your questions.
What does the acquisition mean for curriculum at DSU? Does it add anything, any opportunities that students didn't have before?
At Delaware State University, we were able to acquire 14 new programs as a result of the Wesley acquisition. We have a teach-out agreement with Wesley, where every Wesley student that started their educational career at Wesley, they're able to finish that career in the same fashion they get started at Wesley here at Delaware State University. I actually believe that the new Wesley College of Health and Behavioral Sciences will rival similarly situated colleges across this region. We believe we're going to double our nursing program, and we will be the place for aspiring medical practitioners and professionals in the state of Delaware.
That's how they operate. And they operate as their own separate campus, and they don't actually really work together.
Not at all. We are one university. I've said before that we already have College of Health and Behavioral Sciences on our main campus. What was attractive to us really was Wesley's health science related programs, in particular nursing, occupational therapy, and the like. So what we wanted to do was merge those two colleges effectively, then bring them downtown. Dean Scott Jones will report to our provost, Sandra Delauder, along with our other deans of our other colleges. And particularly Dr. Downey and Dr. Holmes will have special new opportunities to really build capacity to support what we believe will be the renaissance in downtown Philly.
So will students only go to campus classes out there or and only go here, or will there be back and forth?
There will be back in
Gonna have like trolleys or something taken?
our normal buses.
What are you gonna do? I heard there was a lot of maintenance issues on West. How will you address that?
What have Dr. Downey mentioned?
Morning, everyone. So the process we're going through is going to be a multi-year process where we're going to be renovating facilities. Again, we've done some initial walkthroughs, and our primary purpose right now in phase is to ensure that the college is there ready for fall opening. So what I want people to know is going to be a gradual process to make sure we do it right. And again, we're doing those renovations in phases.
Clear, how many students from Wesley opted to transfer?
We have about 472 to 650 that are possible. That's about 72% of the population. I can tell you that that population continues to grow every day as we try to register more students, but we're very pleased with the number of students that will continue to understand.
Do you have any idea where the one square one students?
Not particularly. I mean, I think I think about 85 in total, actually. When you take out those who graduated from Wesley, I'm sure they're going to wherever their respective academic careers.
What was reported for about one of the terms? Delaware State University would invest $15 million over the course of 3 years. And that's been made. There's been significant contributions to the Baldwin Foundation. Scott, I'm just curious, can you talk a little bit about what that $15 million over the course?
So, great question. Let me just say, when we started, as I said in the beginning, our core goal really was to make sure that we didn't touch our normal operating revenue to support the transition. So we had to do a lot of private fundraising. I took that to congressional delegation, in particular, Senator Harper, Senator Jones, and Congresswoman Rochester were very significant advocates for support from the federal government as well. And you're right, we were able to secure a $1 million grant from Longwood Foundation. We have a $20 million grant from Mackenzie Scott. We applied about $5 million of that grant toward the Western transition. And we've had some specific infusions from the federal government that have supported the deal. Relative to the $15 million over 3 years, we've thought about what it would take to maintain the Western campus, specifically as it relates to the facilities improvements that we expect in mainland, and also many of the faculty and staff that we have brought over as a result. You may know this, but we brought over, we offered about 60% of all faculty and staff at Wesley opportunities at Delaware State University. Most of those folks have extended.
We've also reported that this is to turbocharge Delaware State University's grant. Beyond the 2 years, what are your thoughts about what Delaware State and what infrastructure needs to be?
I can tell you, our goal has been, and I've been public about this, is to become a 10,000 person student university. That's not all on campus, but we do believe that a sizable footprint will be on campus. And when you think about what Wesley affords us, which is 41 buildings on 50 acres of land in downtown Delaware, we've had some space needs over the last 10 years. Our enrollment growth has been about 40% over those 10 years. College universities overall have dipped about 5.5% over that same time period. So we're really robusting at the seams. So when you think about residence halls and the like, research space, educational facilities. We think that they actually accommodate our needs to grow into who we are wanting.
Speaking of buildings, properties, it was also reported that Wesleyan acquired the former Dover Library. So is that under DSU's control, and if so, what are we doing? Turn it into lab, classroom, dorm?
We actually don't know that. Don't know yet. It is under our control for sure, but we don't know. The good news about this transaction, we know this, with Wesley's full capital footprint appraised at about $32 million. Well, for us, for this to be sort of a no cash transaction, is really good value for us to think about our new footprint and how we're going to accommodate all the needs in Delaware State.
Yes, so you said that you guys will be taking control of all assets of Wesley College. Does that include all vehicles and the homes that are owned out on State Street and Governor's Avenue as well?
It does. It does. It is the total capital infrastructure that Wesley had with respect to their assets.
Do you guys plan on using those homes as student housing?
We don't know yet. I mean, we're going to grow into this thoughtfully. Our first big move was to make sure we brought our college health and behavioral sciences to downtown. There are some plans we were thinking about with respect to our early college high school over the next couple of years. And of course, there are some athletic facilities that we'll be able to avail ourselves of as well. So there's some opportunity, but we want to be thoughtful about how we grow to the role. Most importantly, though, is really building capacity for the Dover community. That is really Dr. Dowling's #1 priority, to really create new renaissance for downtown.
What do you do about sports?
What would you say?
What do you do about sports? Because Wesley did have its own teams for some things.
Yes, we made a decision in January timeframe that we would not continue Division III sports at Wesley. Wesley has a very, very proud tradition, as you know, of Division III sports, particularly in football, but in all their sports. In fact, their softball team just won the conference championship a couple of weeks ago. Having said that, though, we did not think it would be appropriate for us to have a D1 and a D3 program. There are very few instances where that has worked in the country, and we wanted to go slowly. I can tell you that there have been some athletes from Wesley that have actually come on to Delaware State University's rosters in several sports, coaches as well. So we expect those kind of people to continue as we.
Can you give us any idea of the kind of money you're going to spend?
Let me give you a sense of our maintenance needs. And I'm laughing because thinking about Delaware State before Wesley. About, I guess, 6 years ago, we did a deferred maintenance study, and we had $240 million deferred maintenance at Del State. We just updated that study. It included Wesley. The total new deferred maintenance is actually $80 million for both campuses. So we made a lot of significant improvements at Delaware State, and we've actually encompassed what we expected deferred maintenance at Wesley to be. We're in a much better position than Wesley.
So I wondered what job one is for the dean.
Well, job one, this morning, it started with galvanizing the faculty and the staff that were new, taking a look at all of our programs, prioritizing the programs, and making sure that we can have a good response for the community as well. So actually looking at the programs and making sure that we can have student success and great retention with all of the programs.
How many programs will be up and running in the fall?
We will have over 14 programs that came from Wesley that will be up and running.
Were you bringing any from here to there?
From
From the DSU campus, the programs here to?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna bring all of the programs except nursing. Nursing will stay here while the offices are being outfitted, but we're gonna bring social work, public and allied health, kinesiology, masters in occupational therapy, and psychology, social work. The Wesley campus. That's gonna be here in the fall.
I did want to add to Dean Scott Jones's comment too. We now have associate degree programs. We did not have those before. So as a result of the Wesley acquisition, we'll be able to offer several associate degrees. We also have the new occupational therapy program, which I know is the best in the region, that comes from Wesley as well. So there are a lot of good opportunities for us to really represent ourselves. But as I said, in the health sciences space is the best in class in the region.
As you said, Jack, it kind of puts Delaware State University not only in the state spotlight, but national spotlight. First, wide college, sort of wide college. I'm curious if any changes will be made to sort of like marketing the school to students and retention efforts. I've noticed some new billboards actually on Route 13 driving through campus. I'm not sure how new they are. I don't know them. I'm just wondering if you elaborate on expanding the reach to students that spread the word.
It's a great question. The thing I'd tell you is our vision, as I said earlier, is to be the most substantively diverse contemporary HBCU in the country. That means we're open to all. And we want more folks to understand the Delaware State University story and experience. One of the beauties of the Wesley acquisition is that they are also a minority serving institution. So their students in many ways look like our students. But we are proud not only to be an HBCU, but also be the #1 home to dreamers, children of undocumented workers in the country. Also, we have a very racially and ethnically diverse staff and faculty, and a student base too that's growing in a similar fashion. So really understanding that we are a comprehensive university that can serve all is important to what we believe our brand profile is. And that is growing. You may know that just recently, the Delaware General Assembly actually passed fully supporting the Inspire Scholarship, which is now a 4-year full tuition scholarship for all Delaware graduating seniors. And I think that's very significant boost to us as well. So being able to expand our footprint, having world-class programs that I just talked about, all that really going to help us with our recruitment of all Delaware.
And one of my last questions for you is reading the headlines in the state, particularly from the Wesleyan students and student report. They say blindsided, stressed. I'm just wondering, as president of Delaware State University, what is your message to the society to success?
We're a student-first institution, and we feel very good about two things with respect to this acquisition. One, we understand that we brought a great brand, and we want to preserve that brand in a very real way. That's one of the reasons we've named the new college, Wesley College of Health and Behavioral Sciences. Two, it's a great education. Our graduation rate, our retention rates, our success rates with respect to students after they graduate from here, 86% of which find jobs within 6 months of graduation in their field. Those things are good for any institution to boast, and our Wesley legacy students be able to take part of all of them. So we feel good that they're coming to a great institution, that we're getting great students, and we're building our university.
Do you worry about all the talk about crime down there? Shootings down
I actually see it as a unique opportunity. So when Dr. Downey and I went over with a couple of rounds on the name for the new Wesley College, and we landed on DSU downtown. Some folks thought that putting downtown in the model would have a negative connotation. We actually think that one of our responsibilities is to build a new renaissance in the downtown building. So while we know that there are some opportunities that are going to be in front of us to get what we want to get out of the new experience, I feel like I have an exceptional team that is focused just on that. So it's not only about building educational access for more students across Kent County and the state of Delaware, but also being a part of a real big part of the economic, cultural, and civic life in downtown.
I wondered what brand you'd like to buy next.
But I don't think my team or my board will allow me to do any more purchases of this kind. But I do think, look, not many folks thought we would get to this point when we announced this deal a year ago, except for my team. And I'd say my Wesley colleagues. So for us to be here, just the one factoid you may know is Wesley generates about $80 million of economic impact in county. And that annually for many years. We generate about $260 million of combined. That is $340 million of impact. Think about if Wesley was not there and there was not a Delaware State standing the gap, what that would mean for the future of downtown Dover County. So again, we see ourselves as standing in the gap for our students, our Wesley colleagues, and the city of Dover in a big way. We're going to keep that.
Dr. Allen, we have a few media organizations that are attending online.
Okay.
One of the questions that have come up from one of our reporters online, Elizabeth Redden, wants to know how many faculty employees have been retained from Wesley, and how does that compare to the number of faculty members Wesley had in the past academic year?
We've offered about more than 60% of faculty and staff at Wesley on jobs here. And I can tell you that that was at no consequence to their salaries or benefits. And the raw number, I believe, is about 75 of them accepted. We see that as a great number and a great opportunity for us to get their expertise and build capacity as we. More questions online?
No, that was the one question.
Okay, I do want to recognize Senator Trey Pardee, who just got to know Senator Justine. Senator Pardee is a good friend of ours, a good friend of mine, was the chief sponsor of the Inspire Scholarship, as I mentioned previously, and has been with us every step of the way. This was the acquisition. So, Senator, thank you. Other questions? Yes.
I have two questions. Will the financial aid that was offered by Wesley to the students who are now transferred, and also the music department?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because I know there were some media reports around financial aid and scholarships. So let me be clear, 100% of the Wesley students will pay less than they were paying at Wesley, here at Delaware State University, 100%. With respect to your scholarship opportunities, which I think is important, the Wesley scholarships are Wesley legacy scholarships. We want to offer them this year, but your combined financial package will always guarantee a lower price than our Wesley students are paying. So we feel great about that. That's another reason we thought this deal was very attractive. I said our students really, Wesley students really look like Delaware State University students. So we understand that there was a real need, and we did not want to impact the financial stream. Did you have another question about the music department?
Yes, I had a question, because I'm actually a Delaware State student. I had a question on the music department, planning, and having more opportunities.
Yes, there will be much more opportunities as a result. Again, I don't know if I said this earlier, but Wesley is 147 years old with a very proud legacy that we are going to take great care of. So I think you'll see more and more opportunities growing as a result of this year. Yes.
Concerning former Wesley students that are now Delaware State students, will they have access to all of their records and such, transcripts, different things like that? Or will they now be under the Del State banner? Will there be a Wesley legacy website? How will that work?
There won't be a Wesley Legacy website, but all the Legacy Wesley students are what you would consider continuing Delaware State University students, which means that their academic records will be housed at Delaware State. Any other questions? I want to yield to Senator Pardee if you just want to say a few words. Can you come up?
It is really a pleasure to be here with all of you, and what we're witnessing is history. I think this day will be looked back on 25, 50, 100 years from now as being a real inflection point in the history of DSU, in the history of Dover, particularly the downtown area. It's been a long road getting here. I mean, going back 3, 4 years ago, becoming to learning, understanding that Wesley was in a really difficult position, and there were myself, Representative Sean Lynn, and others who worked really hard to try to keep Wesley afloat, quite honestly, and worked very closely with Bob Clark, who I think is a really wonderful man. And who kind of inherited a really difficult situation. And there were a couple other suitors, obviously, that were involved before Tony stepped forward with a real vision of what could be. And as the senator for downtown Dover, my greatest concern was always the students, always the kids that were affected or could be potentially affected. And then secondarily, I was concerned about the neighborhood and what would happen to the Wesley College campus if Wesley was allowed to go under. And my fear was that you'd have a major developer come in and who knows what would have happened to that property, but it would have radically changed the character of downtown Dover, and not necessarily for the better. And when Bob Clark called me one day and said, I had a conversation with Tony Allen, and man, he has a real vision for what could be done with this property, and having Del State come in, and that, I guess, kicked it off. And as we talked more about it, and I talked to Tony about it, it just seemed to be a win for everyone involved. And I'm just really, really excited for the future and what this means. And honestly, this is going to go down as probably the greatest real estate transaction for the state of Delaware ever. I mean, what an incredible value for Delaware State University. And as I've told people, you look at what the state paid to build Dover High School. We have $140 million in buying that and building that facility. And you look at what the facilities that Delaware State University is acquiring in this transaction. It's just an incredible value for Delaware State University and for the state. Tony and the rest of his team deserve a tremendous amount of credit for their vision and for stepping forward and starting the process to make this happen. It's really an incredible deal. It's a great opportunity for the students who were at Wesley and who have transitioned to Delaware State University. As President Allen mentioned, every student is going to end up with a better deal. They're going to get a quality education at a lower price than they would have at Wesley, and that's really wonderful. If there's any part that that has given me a little pause or has created a little bit of angst is the fact that that not every Wesley staff member or professor could come over. But I want to give credit to President Allen, also to President Bob Clark, for the effort that they made to try to help those staff members and professors to help them find another career. And so there's been a little heartache and a little pain in this, but ultimately this is a just historic opportunity for Delaware State University and an historic opportunity for downtown Dover. And I just cannot wait to see what happens. I mean, it's just going to be great. And to see that campus full of students like it was 10, 20 years ago, It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing economic development story for downtown Dover. I want to acknowledge Senator Colin Bonini, who just walked in. Colin was just an incredible partner through this journey over the last 3 years. Colin, why don't you come up, if I may invite him up. Colin has probably been the greatest champion for Wesley in the General Assembly. And, you know, he and I worked very closely over the last 3 years trying to find a safe landing spot. And ultimately, you know, we arrived here. So it's really wonderful to see Colin here. And
per usual, I'm late. I thought I was supposed to be here at 11. I was supposed to be here. But I apologize. I get emotional sometimes, so please forgive me. But I'm sort of connected to both here. I'm a graduate from Wesley College, just from Raleigh, California. My colleagues in the Senate have never forgiven Wesley for bringing me still. But and my lovely wife, who I totally do not deserve, is vice president of the associate vice president of research at Delaware State University. And it's obviously a little bit bittersweet, but I think it's going to have a happy ending. And I think Wesley is just an amazing place. And I tell people all the time that Wesley College is in the business of changing lives. And by the way, that's the business at Delaware State University. And I know that Wesley changed my life. And Wesley changed the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of graduates over the years. And obviously, some heartache, and then my alma mater is not going to be officially there. But as Trey was saying, as I walked in, it's very exciting. When I think about the fact that those buildings are still going to have bright, young, eager minds walking those halls, and producing the nurses, producing the coaches, the teachers, all of the I hate to say it, occasional lawyer, sorry. Those pre-law students got to get margin. Twins of lawyers, so I'm going to focus on the lawyers. But it's very exciting that's going to happen. Because if you look at it across the country, today I've had these discussions as with Dr. Allen numerous times, and if you look at what's happening to these small private liberal arts colleges all across the country, this is a happy ending, right? This is, I mean, it is just becoming an incredibly difficult environment. There's an economist at Harvard. As an economist at Harvard, all he does is higher ed. And his predictions on what's going to happen to these small colleges throughout the country, I think it's 40% of them are going to close or absorb 10 years. It's just an amazing number. So the reality is that the fact that, as Trey's saying, we have this campus, I'm very confident that what Dr. Allen and his team are going to be able to bring to the Wesley campus. And as Trey said, absolutely critical that that campus is occupied and moving forward. And I'm actually very excited about that. I have to change my allegiances from the Wolverines to the Hornets. Trying to get Dr. Allen to change it to Hornerine or so far I haven't been able to do that, but I'm not going to give up. But very thankful. I love myself. Changed my life. Very thankful that Wesley's legacy is going to take.
Thank you, Senator Pardee and Senator Blue. Are there any other questions from the media before we close? Let me just say in closing, I do want to again thank my incredible Delaware State University team. We have a saying, the power of we. I am very fortunate to be the proud president of this university, but nothing gets done without a team that's committed to a very strong vision and not only believes in it, but feels it is their own. And I think we all feel that we can be the most contemporary HBCU in the country.
And we were tested with COVID. We were tested with significant race relations in the country over the last 18 months. We were tested with the Wesley acquisition. And I'm proud to say that I believe we passed that test, those tests with flying colors. So to my team, I just want to say thank you again for all you do and how you believe. And to my new Wesley teammates, get ready, because this is also a really, really special place that knows how to protect traditions. And I just saw that Chairman Bill Strickland, Wesley College, just walked in as well. As I said before, Bill Strickland has become a good friend over the last 18 months or so, and has guided along with President Hart this transaction quite ably. So thank you, Chairman Strickland, for being here for all you do. And a special shout out to my Chief Operating Officer, who was really the Chief Executive in charge of the transition. This year, I don't give him a lot of kudos. He has a big head. But please, I'm calling if you would just stand up and be ready. All right, everybody, thank you to the media. We are going to have a university forum here in about 20 minutes. Feel free to stay and enjoy some of the words about this wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.